365. I really appreciate the time that you've taken out this week to participate in all the presentations. As I mentioned before, this is a big change and a significant change to the way we'll be doing business in the future, how we communicate, collaborate with students, faculty, and staff. So just a reminder about the session. We're going to do a quick overview on what you get with Office 365. Then we'll go right into email and calendaring. When we're done with the email and calendaring session, we'll have time for question and answers. Please use your handout to collect your thoughts, your first impressions, write down any questions you have, and then we'll do the question and answer after that. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and do collaboration and mobility. So I'm going to turn it over to Ashanka.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for coming here to my presentation on Office 365. I understand that you've been here for 3 days, and this is basically the last session of the last day, which puts me in an unenviable position of being between you and freedom. And also, but the way things go, the best one has been saved for the last. So I promise we'll make this fun and worth your while. And make it interactive. And also, since you've just had lunch, I have to really put on a show to keep you engaged. My name is Ashanka. I'm from Microsoft. I basically joined Microsoft 18 months back. Before that, I was a graduate student, so I've been in university setting and I've been a student, worked with faculty, so I understand the needs of faculty and so on and so forth. Immediately joined Microsoft from graduate program. I was in a business school at Duke University, and immediately joined education because education is my passion. I love working with technology and education. So that's a little bit about me. I'm an Office 365 solution specialist, which means everyone in Microsoft thinks I'm the expert on Office 365. So given that I have 15 minutes to do an overview, I've never done an overview of Office 365 in 15 minutes. I'm going to go a little bit faster, but please bear it with me. One of the most important things that I want to start off with, we'll get into what is Office 365, but why Office 365? What are the 3 main defining features of Office 365? And this is something that I learned from my professor. He's like, make sure you take 3 things away from a class, always 3 things. And so these are my 3 things to take away from this session. The first and foremost is Office 365 is free. It's free for education, so everything that we talk about today is what is part of the free suite. So we won't be mentioning anything that is not free, so everything is free. The second thing is Office 365 is an enterprise-grade service. What that means is it is the same service that is available to an enterprise named Toyota or any other enterprise. It's the same service. There is no difference between the service that we offer to any other customer to education customers. We don't have, it's the same level of service, which also makes it interesting in the sense that because enterprises use this service, they have needs for their workforce. And a lot of this is built on Microsoft's involvement in building productivity software for the workforce. So there's a lot of learning from that. And this is not us taking a consumer service and putting like a layer of it and saying, hey, this will work for the workforce. No, we're taking something that is built for enterprises, built for people who want to do a lot of specialized work-related activities and bringing that to education for free. And the third most important thing is Office 365 is a cloud service. What that means is it doesn't matter if you have a Mac or a PC, it's going to work the same. It does not matter if you have any other device, if you're using an iPad, an iPhone, Android device, a Windows Phone device, for those of the tiny majority that have it. Doesn't matter if you have those devices as well, and it's browser independent. So regardless of which browser you're using, Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, it works fine. And this goes back to the crux of what the Office 365 team believes in. They believe that when you're being productive and you're working with someone else, you cannot control what device that they're using. There's no way for you to know that this person is either on their phone or on their laptop, whether they're using which browser or not. There's no way for you to know it. And so to have seamless experience of productivity, you have to build a service that works well on everything, that works well on PC or a Mac, and this is really their vision. And so what you'll have us see is we don't favor any particular browser. We don't, for example, tailor it only for Internet Explorer, or as someone else did for Chrome. It is not based on one particular browser. It's based on everything. And so these are the three main things I would go with. And so to give you a quick understanding of what Office 365 is, Office 365 basically has three main components. There is Outlook that manages email, calendar, and contacts. There's SharePoint that manages document storage and sharing, so you can actually share documents. It also actually has something known as Office Web Apps. Who's heard of Office Web Apps here? If you've not heard of Office Web Apps, you'll be very interested to know where I can show you how to basically create Office documents on your iPad. It is that cool. Office Web App is an online version of Office, and it's part of SharePoint, so we'll get into that. And we're also going to show you Lync. Lync is part of Office 365, and Lync allows you to do IM. It also allows you to do video conferencing. Like seriously, video conferencing with anyone in the world if you wanted to, just sitting in your room or in your cubicle. So all of this together are free and are part of the free service. So let me just quickly go in and give you an understanding of what it looks like. So when you log into Office 365, this is something that you may encounter. What you get is right on top, you get Outlook, Calendar, SkyDrive, and Sites. So when you log in as a, it timed out. Let me sign in again. So when you log in, like you saw, I logged in with just my username and password. I'm logging in as this person called Katie Jordan. So I just logged in with the username and password. Most of everything that we're going to show is browser-based. So again, it really doesn't matter what device you're using or what OS you're using. I have logged in as the admin for Office 365. Most of you will be logging in as simple users. When you log in, generally, I want to take your attention to the stop screen, top tabs here. You can go and see your email in Outlook. You can go see your calendar. So let's go through that. I don't want to spend too much time on email right now because we'll be talking more about that for one whole hour. Right within the browser, you can see email, calendar. You can see your contacts. So you can see all your contacts as a part of your thing. And if you notice in the contact page, you can actually see their entire information. You can actually schedule a meeting for them right from the browser, see when they're free or not. But you have a good overview of your contacts. You basically get all their information. You can get their organization information. If you can actually link in your Facebook or your LinkedIn profile to your contacts as well. So if you want to go through people's contacts, and if some of them have put their LinkedIn page, you can also see their LinkedIn information as well. One of the things that I did not mention so much is Office 365 also has a news feed. So it's basically, it's what I call the enhanced water cooler. So this is the water, so it's talking about discussions around the water cooler. This is integration of Twitter and Facebook features where you basically want to follow people in your organization. You basically want to see what they say. They can share information and all of that. So you have the ability to also put your status message. You can also follow people. And one of the coolest things is you can not only follow people, but you can follow documents. So if you see here, I'm following documents. And instead of going and downloading documents from other people, the cool feature of this is you can actually follow documents. So you can always come back to this place to see the documents that you want. So if you see someone sharing a document and you're not sure if you want to download it, but you can just follow it with a star, and it automatically becomes part of the documents that you're following. So you can not only follow people and documents, but you can also follow sites. So as you can see here, there are a lot of sites here, and we're going to go into detail of what the site is. But the thing to note is Office 365 is your all-in, a completely unified hub for everything. It's your hub for email, it's your hub for calendar. You get, it has social features where you can follow people, you can put status message and all of that. And also an important thing is document management. And this is something that we'll be going into later. How do you store your documents? How do you view your documents and all of that? So as you can see, this is SkyDrive Pro. This is where you store documents in Office 365. We'll be going into details about how do you create documents, how do you share documents, collaboration, and all of that. The final feature that I want to talk about more in detail is sites. You have the ability to create a site for everything. If you want to collaborate with someone, you can create a site. If your faculty wants a particular site for their documents, for their course content, and you want to basically drive students there, you can do that. So you have the ability to do those sites as well. So any kind of sites, you can do that. Say, for example, I created a site for history because I'm a history nerd, and I think it's a very underappreciated subject. I love history, so I created a page for history. And so if I was a history professor, I have, as you can see, I've put documents there for the class. I've put class notes there. I have actually put like a calendar for that class as well. It's completely here. And another thing is there's a notebook available with every site. So we'll be going into all of this in detail, but you can actually look at notes for every class. The students can come in and see the notes for one class and all of that. And so this was in a 15-minute summary of the awesomeness of Office 365. It usually takes me 2 hours to go through each and everything. But since we have time for email and all of that, we'll go into that. But the thing to remember is this is your one-place hub to look at your documents, to go see sites, to search for information. If you're looking for something, Office 365 is a way to do it. One final thing that I also want to mention is Office 365 is your repository for things. So for example, if all of you start sharing documents on Office 365, it makes it searchable. It makes it you're able to find those documents. Who has problems finding documents, finding subject matter experts and all of that? Anybody? A lot of people say, who should I talk to? Like, I don't know, I'm just sitting in my cubicle, who do I talk to? And for example, here, if you just type in search here, it automatically gives you an overview about the word compliance. It not only gives you authors, like all the names pop up, whoever has submitted words to compliance. You also get result type. Do you want to see a PowerPoint? Do you want to see a web page? Or do you want to go to someone's site? It also tells me people. Who are the people who are big names in compliance, right? It gives me their information. Who's having conversation on compliance? Has anyone put compliance as a tag in their newsfeed when saying hashtag compliance? So it'll also make me go there and also search for videos. And that is what we're trying to do with the cloud here. It's just not, taking 5 services together, wrapping a bundle around them and saying, hey, look, it's a cloud service. No, it's a very integrated cloud service with a lot of thought going behind how to make you the most productive, best we possibly can with a cloud service. And you have a lot of features here. Like for example, without even going into the document, I can actually preview the document just from my search results. I can actually go and say, hey, is this a presentation? I can go here and again preview the document and see it says take a look inside. What are the different tabs associated with it? So it's a lot of work being done to make this a productivity platform for you guys. And so this is just showing things in a nutshell right now. And so we'll go into Outlook and the fun calendaring features. I actually once in my, I think 6 months into my job, I got a call from our account exec in California who was responsible for Stanford. And he says, can you talk about Outlook for 2 hours to my faculty and staff? I'm like, how can anyone talk so much about email? Turns out you can. And so email, even though it can be very dry and I can see some of you nodding, I understand it's the effect of the afternoon, but there are a lot of things to email, and especially the combination of Outlook driven by Office 365. So Office 365, just to make it very simple, the way Office 365 works is this is the cloud, right? So all your email is there, your documents are there, your information is there, it's in the cloud. What everything does is like a browser. When you access browser, it basically draws email from that one source. When you open an Outlook client, it draws email from the same source. So it doesn't matter whether you're accessing information from the browser or from the client, it is accessing it from the same source, and that's how a cloud works. And so what I'm showing you, I'll be showing you 2 things. I'll be showing you how to access email from the browser and how to access email from the client. So we're going to start with the browser. This is how the new Outlook looks. It's changed in its look and feel. It's very clean. It's very minimalistic. And this is, again, something that you're seeing from the Office team where they're putting in a lot of work for UI. They're making everything very clean and interactive, so it's easy for you to do the things you want to do. Because we understand email is the #1 productivity activity of people. And most people, there's some study that says most people's inefficiencies can be traced back to email and the kind of email software that they use, because they spend a lot of time doing things that are actually very easy. And so the Outlook team does a lot of research into this. Outlook is the #1 email client across organizations in the world. I believe 80% or so of workforces in the world use Outlook and the back-end Exchange. And so there's a team dedicated to just how people work and how to make email simpler for them. The entire team is dedicated to that. And you see all of that work being brought into the client, the browser, and also the desktop. And so as you can see, this is a browser version of it. It's got a very clean look and feel. If you want to see, as you can see, it has conversation view turned on, so you can see people in a certain conversation if you want. You can basically turn on you can turn on things by unread. If you want to see all your unread messages, you can do that. You can turn on conversation view. One of the things that you can definitely do is, for example, if you right-click on things, you can definitely set flags and priority right from the browser, so you can set flags for it. You actually have something called ignore conversation. Who can guess what it does? This is an interactive session because I have a feeling you'll doze off. So this is my way of making it very interactive. Who can guess what an ignore conversation feature does?
Hides it.
So basically like pressing the mute button on a conversation. If you're part of your email chain where you're not in any way related to what those people are talking about, but for some reason you're still part of that email chain, if you don't want any knowledge of it in your, and don't want it to clog your inbox, you can actually press the mute button on email. So these are some of the cool features that is part of Outlook, where you can do a lot of things. Another thing that you can do from the browser is you can create rules. You can create rules for your inbox, and you can say, hey, if this message comes from this person, take it to a folder. So a lot of things that you can do there. Another thing, of course, is it synchronizes all your folders. So if you create folders on the client, those folders automatically get synced on the cloud, and basically you have a copy of whatever is on your client in the cloud as well. One of the things I want to show quickly before I move on to the client is calendaring. Calendaring, again, we want to keep it simple in the browser version at least, so that you're able to do things. This is the inbox creation rule, so let's move that. I'll cover that in the client. So this is the calendar there. The calendar is, again, very simple. It looks beautiful. You can have different views. If you want to do a weekly view, you can do that. If you can do a work week, or even if you want to do month. So it's very beautiful and very easy and intuitive for you to go and see some of the things that you want to do. I have other calendars turned on, so I'm going to turn off some calendars. As you can see, if you are sharing your calendar with other people, you can actually get one unified view for everybody. So you can see it changed. I added more people to see their calendar, and now I'm going to remove them. So I can only see my calendar. If you have personal calendar and you want to remove that personal calendar, I'm going to turn off the personal calendar, and now everything is my private calendar. So you can have a separate calendar for your personal work. You can actually add your Facebook calendar if you want. You can actually see combined views of your team and see when they're free and all of that. So you can do a lot of work with calendar, which we're going to go into when we talk about the client. But one cool thing that you can do is actually share your calendar. Now, this is important, and this becomes useful when you want to share your calendar with someone who's outside your organization. Haven't you ever wished if you could just email your calendar to a vendor and say, hey, just pick a time that works for you? And you can do that with the Outlook. You can actually share it with people, and it sends them an email. It can be external to your organization, and it just shows free busy. They won't be able to see the details of any of that, but they'll just see what free busy you can do that. So you can even share your calendar with external contacts. But we're going to dive into the meat of the email with Outlook on the desktop. Now, before I go into Outlook on the desktop, it was very interesting to me when we were talking. It said that even you've been seeing Outlook used as a client in the last 2 presentations as well. They're saying that you can use Outlook with any of it. The one thing I want to make sure is Outlook works best. The way it is designed to work, Outlook, the client, works best with Office 365 because it comes from the same company. And so Outlook, when you tie it up with any other thing, whether it's Gmail or Yahoo or whatever it is, that kind of integration also depends on how those other manufacturers run their email system. And a lot of time it breaks. The synchronization breaks, especially when it comes to calendaring, because calendar takes a lot of effort. And if you tie 2 things together that are not from the same instance, the calendar completely breaks. So Outlook, especially the calendar features, the ability to share calendars, the ability to synchronize calendars when they're offline, works best with Office 365. It actually breaks quite a bit when it's an external system. So if you're using Outlook with any other thing, it works, but not to the way it's designed to work. So that's something I wanted to talk about. So in the morning session, I actually created this demo as a narrative on the day of life of Katie. Katie Jordan. I've signed in as Katie Jordan, and so instead of just showing you this feature and that feature, I wanted to make it a narrative. And so this is Katie Jordan. She's a sprightly young woman, I would say. And she's just signed into her email, right? What is the first thing that people do when they see their email? What is the #1 thing that concerns you? It's unread email, correct? You want to see what is the unread email, or what is the mess that I'm supposed to deal with, kind of a thing. So you can automatically, in the client, look at unread emails. It's automatically filtered by unread emails. And this is personally what I do. I actually keep it in unread mode, because as soon as something comes up, it becomes part of the unread and helps me keep things in check. So you can easily filter things in unread aspect. So I see in my unread email that Garth Fort, I wonder who comes up with his names, right, for a demo. So Garth Fort has written me an email saying, hey, we need to talk about budget discussions. And I can also see that he has said it's urgent and important. So he has flagged it as urgent and important, and so it comes in for me as urgent and important, and so I know that it is important to him. And one of the things you can see is I get a preview of it, but these are some of the things, if you actually look at it, if you right-click it, you have a lot of options. For example, I can flag it to say, hey, I need to flag, Garth needs immediate response, it's urgent, so I probably have to come back to it, so let me flag it. So I'm going to flag it. Or I can set a reminder of when I want to come back and attend to it, so you can do that. The other thing that you can do is, again, you have various rules that we can come to, but there are a lot of options that you can do. I want to show you what a conversation view in Office 365 looks like. So this is a conversation view in Outlook. So what a conversation view is regardless of who's sent and who's written a mail, as long as it's part of one discussion topic, as long as it's part of one subject, all of those emails get listed. So for example, if you send an email to somebody under the same subject line and you want to see what you said, you can go back to this. This is Katie Jordan's sent message, but it is part of her conversation view. So you don't have to go to your sent message to see what this email was said. You can just look at it in the conversation view, and it's the same thing. Anything that anyone sends, you can do that. The other thing that she probably looks at is, you know, there are some emails from things that are maybe not important. Let me go back to all view. One thing that Katie sees is that, hey, there's an address for this. And this is something I want to highlight that is new in Office 365 and Outlook 2013, is now the email has become very smart. It can automatically scan your emails to help you with things. For example, it is seen that I have sent an address, and this looks like an address. It has helpfully allowed me to see the location using Bing Maps within an email. Now, I no longer have to go type this address and see where that leads me. This automatically opens an app. And that's something that we want to highlight as well, is now in Outlook, in Office 365, you can actually integrate apps as a part of your service. So if you want to add a location app, you can do that. If you want to add a translation app, you can do that. And it automatically makes your life easier just by looking at the content in your mail. And this is some of the intelligence added to email as well. So it showed you the thing. So what is the second thing that people do after they check their unread email? They probably go to the calendar, correct? So this is the calendar in Office 365. I'm going to take this out. So this is the whole calendar view in Office 365. As you can see, just by looking at the calendar tab, you have so much you can do with calendar. I can tell you, as far as softwares go with respect to calendaring, I don't think there's anything that comes close to the features that you get with Office 365. So you can see your calendar again, day, work week, month view. You can change the view any way that you want. Plus, since she's been talking to Garth Fort, probably wants to see what time Garth Fort is free. And all I did was I just checked Garth Fort here, and his calendar turned up. So you can see a side-by-side view of each other's calendar and figure out where the time was. The way to do it is you can open a calendar, and so you can basically open a calendar for a room, You can actually create a calendar for a room. So if you want to book a room and you want to make it a calendar, you can definitely make it a calendar for your room. You can open a calendar from the internet, but you can open a shared calendar, and it's very easy to open a shared calendar. So I've already opened Garth Fort. Let me see if I get somebody else. Wow. Let me first cancel somebody. Let me just take out Garth. So let me show you how you open shared calendars. Just type that person's name, and Outlook will do the rest for you. So you don't even have to type their email address or anything. Automatically see their calendar. But another thing is, if you just want to set up a meeting with Garth, and it seemed like he wanted to meet on the budget discussion, you just go to New Meeting, and you put in Garth. And on discussing earlier, you also want to look at a conference room. So I don't know what conference room I want to look at. I'm just going to press Control-K, and hopefully I get an option for conference rooms. So I'm going to say, OK, conference room Rainier, right? Subject. So we already had a right? And the best part is, if you want to see when your mutually convenient times are available, you just go to Scheduling Assistant. And it automatically shows you everything that is free, everything that is not free, and so you can actually see when Garth Fort is free. So let me change the time to something. Oh, this is a wrong conference room, so let me change something. So I don't know why I'm not able to change the time. Let me just figure out a new meeting. Huh, interesting. So if you want to look at, so like you said, you have a scheduled view of everyone's calendar. So you could have 50 people on it, and you can see all their scheduled view at one go. So if you want to see what's the mutual convenient time, you can do that. Another thing is Outlook even gives you suggested times. So it gives you the suggested times that people are free, and it also tells you when there are conflicts or not. So let me try this again. Because it definitely worked in this. So say you have 5 people, and you want to see when is the mutual convenient time for everybody. You can definitely go to the scheduling assistance, and it'll tell you everyone's convenient time, but it also gives you suggested time, and it also gives you the available rooms that are available. If you actually look at it, show a room list. So you can see building rooms #1. So you can actually code it in the way that you can see the available rooms that are free at this particular time. If you have a bunch of rooms and you want to see which room is free, you can definitely do that. So the calendar aspect is very, very strong. One of the things that is great, I'm going to stop this. One of the things is you can also create a calendar group. And this is very interesting. So for example, if you deal with the same set of group of people all the time, and you say, for example, you're a manager and you have 5 people under you, you want to set up a team meeting. How do you do that? So what you can do is you can create a new calendar group. You can call that group anything. You can call it budget team. And then you can start adding people to that budget team. So I'm going to add this guy, our friend Garth. Then it says Janet. So I'm going to add them. And then it opens up a team calendar for everybody. So I can immediately see who's free, who's not free, and then I can check everyone's calendar and create a unified calendar for everybody. So I get a calendar view of everybody, so basically creating a shared calendar. So for example, you don't want to see everybody in the budget team except Garth Ford, and you just want to see calendars side by side, you can do that as well. So Garth Ford is open twice here. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you want to schedule time and all of that. So let me just come back to email. We've talked about calendar for some time. So she looks for a time, sets up a meeting with Garth, and then realizes that this is very important and we need to make sure that this conversation is current and fresh, and I need to document this. So for example, it's very easy to create folders. You just right click, you can create a new folder. So I'm creating a new folder called budget presentation. Right? So I create it, and then instead of dragging and dropping into that folder, I just right click. And we have something known as rules. Rules is that magic wand for your inbox to organize it that automatically does things for you. It's what I call the magic assistant for your inbox. It automatically organizes things. You just create rules and Outlook automatically follows that. This is something that you don't get with any other client but Outlook. And so I'm going to create a rule that says anything that's with the subject line budget discussion, move it to this folder. I can select a folder. So I have budget presentation. I'm going to select that. And I'm going to say OK. And then it says, has been created, run the rule now on messages already in current folder. I'm going to say yes. And automatically you see that all that conversation has now moved to budget presentation. So that entire conversation is now part of my budget conversation automatically. And now anytime we do back and forth, we're going to reply and do that, it's automatically going to come into my inbox. So rules are very, 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 very helpful. In fact, for me, I have an inbox rule where I've actually set up an inbox rule that says, delay every email that I send with 2 minutes, for 2 minutes. Why do you think I did that? Anyone want to answer that? Oops. Yes, exactly, oops, right? You, as soon as you hit send, you realize you made a mistake and you wish you could go and get it back. You can do that, and that's how you do. You create a rule. It's very easy. It's right in the top box. You start create a rule, and creating a rule is very easy. You have multiple options. You have a lot of options to create rules, and this is how I set up a 2-minute delay in my Outlook inbox, where anything that I send goes out with a 2-minute delay. And so that's very, very handy. One of the things I wanted to say is, as far as address book is concerned, if you want to find somebody, it automatically resolves. It's why we call it resolves itself. So for example, this is this email that I have at Garth, say if I want to forward it to somebody, and I don't know, let me see if there's anyone. So I just put Control K and it shows me who the options are, or sometimes it resolves itself automatically. And so I can do that very easily. It automatically resolves itself at the back end. Another of my favorite features is the drag and drop capabilities. So if I want to basically drag and drop anything from here as an attachment, I just drag and drop it. No need to, you can do Control C, Control V. You have a lot of options. You can even say insert and attach a file, but I like dragging and dropping things and just dropping it to them. Another thing that you can do that's only specific to Outlook is that, say for example, you want to copy some email, right? Say someone said something, say for example, you're like, hey, we were talking and this is what someone said. You want to attach a copy of that email to somebody. You can actually do that. You just Control C, Control V, just do that, and it automatically adds that in as a part of the attachment. Again, these are features that are very, very you think it's very basic, but you'll be surprised how many email clients out there don't have these simple features as well. One of the things that I want to also highlight is you have an option when you're setting up a meeting to do the same thing, is attaching documents, right? Because you want to attach documents during a meeting, and because if people want to see it, you want to be able to attach documents to a meeting. I did the same thing. You can attach documents to calendars. Again, it's a very basic thing, but you'll be surprised who doesn't support that. Say, for example, very clearly in Gmail, you cannot attach documents to calendars. This feature is part of the Labs feature, I believe, but it's not natively supported by Gmail Calendar. You cannot put attachments into Gmail calendars. That's how it is built. You would think it's very simple, but these are the limitations. So going more, I want to show you more things about what makes Outlook really great. The other thing is quick steps, and this is something that I cannot live without. Is again, the Office team's approach is to make sure that there is a lot of making your life easier. So one thing that we do with quick steps is say I just want to send an email to my team, instead of typing their name all the time, can I do it with one click? That's the challenge. Can I do it with one click? You can do that with quick steps. Quick steps are all about doing repetitive steps that you do all the time with just one step. And for example, you can create a quick step as a team email. You can create a quick step as a manager. For example, if I want to write an email to my manager, I'm going to click that. Garth Ford is already set up as my manager, and so it sets up a quick step to him. So I don't have to go create new email, add him in an email address and send him to that. So, so for example, if you want to create a quick step, it's very simple. New quick step. So you have a lot of quick steps. Do you want to automatically create folders? Do you want to flag them automatically? Do you want to create a new meeting all the time? So for example, if I want to create a new meeting, say I want to create a meeting with Alex all the time. So I'm going to finish that. And so it's going to set up a quick step as new meeting with Alex. I'm going to just click on that, automatically set up as a meeting request. I don't have to go into calendar and do all of that. And so I could basically, like I said, I do this. How much time do I have? I have till 1:30, correct?
Yes. No, we have till 2:15.
2:15? Okay, great. So I could, we could go on and on about all the various features about Outlook, but there are some of the things that we have. I quickly wanted to show you stuff on the iPad, on how your email renders on the iPad. So let's do that quickly. This is a juggle here, so let me do that. So one of the things is, can anyone see this clearly? Going to Mail. You can easily set up your email basically by just going to the native mail client on an iPad and just putting your Office 365 information. You don't need any server information, you don't need anything else, just put your username and password and it automatically updates and will download all your email, including your folders. It synchronizes your folders, your calendars, your contacts, everything gets synchronized. So as you can see, my email is synchronized. I just want to go, as you can see, I just created budget presentation right within this demo, and it's automatically updated with the things that I had put into the folder using the rule. So it also synchronizes folders and contacts. If you want to look at calendar, it synchronizes calendar. One of the things that is amazing that even your personal calendar that you have, it says Kelly's soccer practice. Even though I've coded it in a separate color, which is green, that shows up on your iPad as well. So if you code something in a separate color and categorize it differently, even that shows up in an iPad. So of course, this is the native applications in an iPad for mail and calendar. If you want to use the browser, you can do that as well. Where's the browser? So if I want to go to Safari, I can go browse, log into Safari, and go into the Office 365 portal, and again, the same email is rendered to me. So I can do all of that. All of that which I can do on my browser, on my computer, I can do that on my iPad. There's no functionality difference. If you have a browser that works on your iPad, Office 365 will work. So I'm going to stop because we wanted to leave 15 minutes for questions. We have 10 minutes? Oh, 1:30 to 2:30.
If you're at a good breaking point, that's fine.
Okay, so you can talk and I can show a little bit more after that.
Okay. So this afternoon, for Q&A, we're going to go to Grand Rapids first, and then we'll come back up here to Big Rapids, and then we'll go to the online questions. So Krista, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. The first question, I've not heard anything regarding what the quota limits, if any, there are for the email mailbox Office 365.
Krista, we're having a little trouble with that, the sound on the microphone. If you could hold on just a second.
All right.
Repeat the question. Go ahead and repeat the question.
Okay, the first question would be, I haven't heard anything regarding quota limits on the Outlook 365 mailbox.
Good question. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned it. The Office 365 mailbox is at 25 gigs. So every user gets 25 gigs of mailbox and a maximum attachment size of 20 MB. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Second question would be, the features that you demonstrated on the Outlook 2013, are all those features available via the web client, or are they unique to the native client?
There are some features like creating rules that are available on the web client. There are some features on sharing calendars that are available on the web client. But the more consolidated features are part of the desktop client. So the web client has on-the-go the ability for you to check your email, do basic stuff like schedule a meeting with other people. But if you want to do extensive calendar sharing and all of that, the desktop client is where we advise people to go because it has a lot more functionality.
Great, thank you. That's all from Grand Rapids.
Okay, we'll open up the conversation here in Big Rapids. Bruce?
You keep noting Outlook. Do you have to have Outlook loaded on each machine, and which version?
For Office 365 supports Outlook 2007 and onwards. So you can have Outlook 2007, Outlook 2010, and Outlook 2013.
But you need to have it loaded on each machine?
If you want to take advantage of the extensive features, yes. But if you want to browse it on the web using the web browser, you don't have to have Outlook on your computer. So you can do that as well. So you can browse it from the browser. You can use your iPad to get your email. You don't have to have Outlook loaded on this. Or you can have Outlook loaded on your machine. So you have a lot of flexibility on how you want to consume email. And of course, there are some limitations associated with the different form factors. For example, if you have a browser by itself isn't that powerful. It does not have that many features. Another thing about a browser-based system is, what if you don't have internet access? How do you access email offline? Right? Not everything can be based on a browser, and there's a lot of talk about browsing email, but offline access is a very important aspect of email. So for example, if you're in a plane or if you're in a train or where you don't have internet access, how do you get backup for your email? Instead of always having to log on to email when the connection can be very spotty. So why Office 365 gives you the best of both worlds. You have your client, you have your browser. You can use whatever you want to help get your work done, but we give you the best of both worlds. Because again, that's the flexibility that we give you, where if you want to use the client, you can use the client with just your Office 365 credentials. If you want to use the browser, you can do that. But allowing you to have offline access as well is very important to us, because we think, just because you go home or you might not have internet everywhere, but you still need to work. And the great thing about Outlook on the desktop is the Outlook client. It's very good for offline working, which means your address books work. So if you don't have internet connection, but you still want to continue emailing people, you still want to continue opening calendars and schedule meetings, all of that will continue to work without an internet connection. Because as soon as you get an internet connection, it automatically resynchronizes everything and basically sends emails and all of that. And so if you've ever seen in a plane, people who are working, they're working because even they can work, they can send their email, they can get stuff done because they have offline access. And that is very important to us, because the Office team wants people to be productive and give them tools that lets them do that. So it was rather a long-winded answer, but hopefully that helped.
But if you don't have internet access, how can you receive your emails from, you say, the cloud, is it?
Yeah, so what Outlook does is whatever email that you've received till now, it's going to be on your client. So as soon as your internet connection is lost, all these emails will continue to be there. And so you can continue doing work, you can continue have access to your email. But if you only depend on a browser-based access, you can't even access your mail without having an internet connection.
All right, next question over here, anyone? Okay, Jennifer?
Our friends in Grand Rapids didn't ask this one today. How does this work on a Mac?
It works, the Mac, it works in Outlook 2011, so that's the version for Mac. It works the same way. It's the same thing that I'm showing for a PC. So like I said, Office 365 doesn't depend on which device that you're using. So if you have Outlook 2011 for Macs, it works the same way. Every feature that I've shown works with the Mac.
Any other questions this side of the room? Over here, up front?
Is there a limit to the size for a group that you might create?
Pardon?
Is there a limit to the size for an email group that you might create?
No, we have very large distribution groups. So you can create as many distribution groups as you can. So there are two kinds of groups. There's groups that you can create yourself, which is personal to you. And then there are distribution groups that the university creates basically for all employees, for example. So you can create both sorts of things. I am not aware of any small limits. If there's any limit, it's basically large. It's in the tens of thousands in terms of a distribution group.
And as a follow-up to that, is it possible to search for a name within all of the groups that you have?
Search for a name within all the groups that you have. You can search for address books. This is our search. So this is a unified address book search. So if you have any name, this is the way to search for it. And if their name features in a different distribution list, that will show up as well.
Next question over here. Anyone else? That's it for questions? Okay, in the back, Krista?
Yes.
Krista, I don't think you have the button pushed.
I can hear you.
Do you cover any spam filtering?
Yes, absolutely. Office 365 comes in with inbuilt anti-spam, antivirus, filtering as a part of the product. So it is based, so the way Office 365 works is we are hosting email on our data centers. So we have to take all precautions to ensure that there is no kind of attack, there's no spam, there's no malware thing. So it is part of the product. So it comes with anti-spam, antivirus thing. In fact, one of the things let me do is talk about some of the features here. If you actually look at this, if you actually, is it coming? Yeah. If you actually look at it, these are the specs of Office 365. You get 25 gig mailbox as a part of Office 365, premium antivirus, anti-spam. We have a product that we actually sell to customers that is being used for spam filtering here. It's called Forefront Online Protection for Exchange. That is the same product which we actually charge to customers, enterprise customers. For that, it's being bundled with this product. And so it is part of Office 365. Archiving and compliance capabilities are part of it. One of the things that we want to talk about is you also want to make sure you can monitor your mail environment. So this is more on the IT side, but you get that. And of course, any mobile device that you have basically has a feature that allows it to talk to Exchange. If you look at all your iPhone devices, when you're setting up your mail client, you actually see something called Exchange, right? And if you look at an iPad, if you're setting up a mail account, you see Exchange as a part of it. That means if you just put your username and password, all your email will automatically sync. Email, calendar, contacts, folders, everything will automatically sync with each other. And that's something that Microsoft works with other phone manufacturers to enable that to happen. We can go into the SharePoint aspect later.
Might have some more questions. We have some in the back. We do. Jacob?
So when does Microsoft perform regular standard maintenance on the hosted side for the email, like the days, the times, and then usually what's the estimated downtime for those maintenance periods?
Anytime there's a maintenance, you don't have a downtime because it's basically redundant. It's basically the way the system works is on a redundant data center. So as soon as your the infrastructure on your one data center is taken for maintenance, it switches to a backup data center. So you don't have downtime with regards to maintenance.
And I think we had another question in the back. Val?
We have 3 questions actually from Adobe Connect. The first one is with respect to uptime. What is the, I guess, availability SLA, and how do we assure that the service we're getting is dependable?
So the uptime SLA for SLA service level agreement that we sign with you is we guarantee 99.99% of uptime.
Okay.
That is more than anybody else. And in terms of what happens if you don't meet that uptime, like I said, this is the same service that our enterprise customers use. So it's the same back-end infrastructure that our enterprise customers use who actually pay us for this service. So our revenue model is clear. If they pay us for this, we'll host it for them. We don't have any ad revenue model or things like that. And so if we don't meet the 99.9% uptime SLA, we actually credit back to them on all the time that we've not met that criteria. So they get money back if we don't meet 99.9% uptime. And so education, it is free. So there is nothing to credit back because it's fundamentally free. But the thing to note is, since this is the same service, we will lose money if we don't keep it at 99.9%. Our revenue model is clear. So we have all the incentive to maintain it at 99.9% uptime.
Thank you. We got a second question. What is the largest attachment that one can send at a time?
Largest attachment that one can send at a time, I believe it's 20 MB.
And the next question is, does the product support read and return receipts?
Yes. You absolutely get return receipts, delivery reports, if you want to set that up for every email, which I can show you. I want to go into some back-end stuff given that I have 15 minutes, so I'll go into that as well.
I think we have some more questions that have come up. Okay, Chris?
Yes, you mentioned that oops kind of facility when you set a delay on your email send. How do you go, so does that mean that you can actually go in and delete something then before it goes out? And
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So before it goes out, it basically is going to reside in your outbox. If you actually see all of this here, there's an outbox here. So when you institute a 2-minute delay for all your emails, it's going to be in your outbox for 2 minutes. And if you delete it from your outbox, it's not going to go away. In fact, since I'm such an expert in this, because I've had a lot of oops moments, obviously, if you go to your outbox and just open that email that is there in your outbox, if you just open it, it's not going to send it. So you don't even have to go and delete it. You just go into your outbox and just open it. It won't send it.
Can you edit it then?
Yeah, you can edit it and then send it. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you go over the retrieve sent messages?
Yeah, I'll do that.
You do that in a minute. Okay, so you can go out and retrieve messages as well. Okay.
Can my boss give me rights to his calendar so that I can accept appointments and things like that for him?
Absolutely, and let me show you how to do that. You basically go to account settings and you delegate access. And so basically, you can add who you want to delegate access to. So for example, I want to delegate access to Alex Darrow, and this is something that I wanted to show about. And it gives you options on how you want to delegate access, which is again what makes Outlook very powerful, is because in other clients, if you look at Gmail, for example, you just get one blanket delegate access. They can view your information, they can change your information, they can even see your private information. Where in Outlook, it's very segregated. You can, if you just want to give them access to your calendar, to delegate access to your calendar, you can do that. If you don't want them to touch your inbox or your task list or your private information, you can actually segregate that, which is different in Outlook. Another thing is, it says, if you see here, delegate can see my private items. In your calendar, if you've marked something as a private, and you basically don't want someone who you've delegated access to see those private information, they cannot see your private information. So you have all those levels of controls, which makes Outlook very superior.
We have another question over here. I'll come back to you, Jennifer.
When you set up a calendar and you have several faculty that want to use a room, and if they put in for a day or a time, they are the only ones that would be able to delete or change that, correct?
Yes, you can do that. You can definitely do that. In fact, you can also set notification for approvals of a conference room calendar to go to someone else to give better access. You can make it generally editable, but yes, you can do that.
Dan?
I noticed on the sheet that you had up a few minutes ago that it did not list Android support.
Which one?
It was your summary sheet that had the gig limitation.
It does support Android. I can go back to that again. It says most devices using BlackBerry, iPhone, it's a miss. Android is supported. Okay,
and then the other question, I'm wondering what the mobile experience is like in other browsers. Firefox, Safari, etc. Because it looks like a lot of this stuff relies on Silverlight and ActiveX.
So you can, like I just browsed through my email on Safari on an iPad. So it is supported for mobile browsers for Safari, Firefox, IE, and Chrome. So I just did that on an iPad. So you can definitely browse the web for it. So if you can browse to basically a website, you can browse it. In fact, you can actually edit Office web apps on an iPad. So that's there. So I'm going to show that. So
it does no longer require ActiveX and Silverlight?
I don't know. It does not require ActiveX.
I think we might have had a couple questions in the back, Jake, and then we'll go online with Val again.
If a user deletes mail, attachments, calendar entries, can those users put in a ticket to Microsoft to have those items restored? And if so, what is the furthest point back that Microsoft can go to restore those data?
So when I answered it the first time, all the IT people in the room came and told me you should not have said that. But you can delete. If basically you delete something, if it's in your deleted items folder, it's going to be there for 30 days, after which it's going to get automatically deleted. After that, there is a back-end way to get it, and you can get it for as far back as 14 days after you delete from the deleted items folder.
That would be your second chance, Jake. Folder. Val, go ahead.
So we have another question from Adobe Connect. Is there any data scrubbing capabilities?
Pardon?
Are there any data scrubbing capabilities with Office 365?
What does it mean by data scrubbing capabilities?
Privacy, for instance, is Microsoft keeping any of the data that we post?
No.
Is Microsoft using any of the private university information for research purposes?
Yes, very good questions, and the answer is no. Your data is your data. We're just providing the service. So we mentioned that very explicitly in our terms and conditions. We explicitly say your data is your data. And we also explicitly say that we're not going to mine it for any information. We're not going to use it for research purposes. We're not going to scan it for advertising purposes. Because like I said, our revenue, the way Microsoft makes money is by selling software and providing services. Our money is not coming from scrubbing data or using people's information. So for that way, we're not in the business of mining people's data to make money. So no, Office 365, we don't mine people's. In fact, all Office 365 customers remain in the US. So all their information is going to be in the US data center. We will guarantee that. We will guarantee that your information remains in a US data center. And the other thing is, unless you specifically authorize it, even Microsoft employees at the data center don't have access to your information. So it's basically a conduit for your data, but we don't access your data in any way.
Okay, do we have any additional questions? Jennifer has another question.
Actually, two. The first is probably really quick. You mentioned that you can ignore a conversation. Can the people in the conversation tell that you've ignored them?
No.
Okay, and then the second is that many of us have rather large Lotus Note email archives. Mm-hmm. Is there a way to import those into this system?
Absolutely. So first of all, the mail has to get migrated to Office 365 for you to be able to import archives. If your archive is in the form of a .psd file, you can bring that into Office 365 and make that a part of your cloud archive. And your archive and your mail inbox count towards the 25 gig limit. So even if you archive information and your mailbox, they count towards the 25 gig limit. So once you reach the 25 gig limit, you basically have to delete email at that point, or you have to opt for an unlimited archive option, which is at a charge of $1 per user per month.
All right, the second half of our session is about collaboration and mobility. We have a lot to cover, so it's good that we're getting a little bit early start. I want to remind you about completing the surveys. I've looked at the surveys. They take about 10 minutes to complete. That's the average time. How many of you have completed a survey? Could you raise your hand? Oh, we see a few people have completed a survey. It's really important. Big Rapids and our Grand Rapids and online community that we go out and complete that survey. We're going to be drawing quantitative and qualitative information out of that survey to help us make our decision on what our next steps are. So I know you've spent a lot of time over the last couple of days, whether it's been in the morning or the afternoons, you're spending almost a half a day here, and I really appreciate it. I just need one more little piece for you to fill out that survey. So with that said, we're going to start with collaboration and mobility for the second half, and then we'll follow up with Q&A.
Thank you so much. And before we go to part 2 of this very exciting journey of Office 365, I want to show, just quickly show delegation, because apparently the feed was lost and they wanted to see delegation. Delegation is very easy. You just go to File, you just go to Account Settings, you go to Delegate Access, and like what I said, you can basically delegate access based on the person, if they're out of, if you can basically delegate access to calendar, you can delegate access to mail. I don't know why delegate access is not working now. It was. Anyway, so that's that. And so you can go to account settings and delegate access from there. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to switch to this screen and show you stuff about calendar sharing. So can everyone see this okay? So basically, if you know, what has someone noticed here? I have switched computers. So one big change in what is noticed, I've changed browser. So I'm basically in Chrome. So anyone who accuses us of being favorites with a certain browser, I'm in Chrome. So I'm just going to show you how the product works in another competitor's product, just to show that it doesn't make a difference to us. And so I'm going to talk about sharing. So very important things to know about sharing is how much storage space we'll be giving you for sharing. So there are 2 kinds of storage space in Office 365. Institutions get an institutional-wide storage space. So for every user that they add on Office 365, institutions' storage space increases. So it starts off with 10 gigs, but as you add more users, you get 500 MB more. So you get 500 MB more for one user, you get 1 gig more, and so on and so forth. I've told you have 1,500 users. So 1,500 users of just institutional storage comes to around how much does it? My math, okay, good, this is bad. It's around 750 gigs of storage. So you get somewhere around 760 gigabytes of storage just for institution, on an institution-wide level. On top of this, every user also get personal storage. So they get personal storage of 7 gigs. So you get institutional storage that keeps increasing as you add users, but every user also gets individual storage of 7 gigs. So if you actually look at the total storage, 7 gigs for 1,500 users is 1,050 gigs of individual storage, plus you add 750 gigs of tenant-wide storage, and you're looking at a huge amount of storage space, somewhere around 2,200 gigs of storage space. So it's a huge amount of storage that we're giving for free. So all of this is free. There's no charge for this. If you, of course, want additional storage, the additional storage is 20 cents per gig per month. So for 20 cents, you can get an extra gig and so on. But for free, we're giving you over 2,000 gigs of storage free. So that is what we're talking about in terms of storage. We're going to revisit the Office 365 portal. So we talked about Outlook, we talked about Calendar, I showed you a little bit about Newsfeed, but this is the time to talk about SkyDrive Pro. And by the time you leave the session, I want you to know about what SkyDrive can do and how it can change the way you work, basically. So this is where you would store Office documents on SkyDrive Pro. In fact, you can store any kinds of documents. If you want to store PDFs, If you want to store music files, WAV files, any kind of files you can store, but most people store Office documents. And so this is the hub for Office documents. It's called SkyDrive Pro. And just to reiterate, every user gets 7 gigs of storage on this. And the beauty about SkyDrive Pro is not only you can store Office documents, but you can also create Office documents. And the reason you can create Office documents from the cloud without having Office installed on your computer. So I'm just doing this in the browser. I don't have Office on this computer. This is not my computer. This is an external computer. So I am going to open a Word document. Just going to test one. So it automatically opens something known as a web app. And this is something that I want to talk about is what is a web app. Sorry. Once you go from this presentation, I want you to know what a web app is. A web app is a browser-based version of an Office document. That's it. It's all browser-based. As you can see, there is no Office open on my computer here. But if I want to, if I basically want to work on this document, I can continue to work on this document. So I can say, and I can continue to work on it as I would an Office document. I can, I can bold it. I can make it and center it. If I want to put page layouts, I can do that. If I want to mark its indentation, I could do that. I can insert picture if I want. Anything that I want to do, which I would in a normal Office document, most of the features you can do. Of course, this is a web app. It is not going to be a full substitute for Office, but it has most of the features that you would want to do for most popular features in Office that you have in a web app. And the important thing is, if you create document in a web app, you can be ensured that the file formatting absolutely remains intact when you open it in Office. So if you want to do more work on that document, say you want to do extensive features, if you want to do that, you can save this, and then I can go back and, was it called test 1? Oh, 4 minutes ago, this is, no. What was it called? Test 1? Okay, I have another test 1. It's probably this. So you can actually use this, you can actually get a preview of this document that you created, and you can use it to view it. For example, let me look at this. So it says weekly presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation. As you can see, I get a preview of that PowerPoint presentation. And then within the preview itself, this is all the web app. It's giving me an instant preview to things. I can actually view this presentation in preview mode. And it's so cool, it actually plays animation in preview mode. So every animation that was part of this original presentation, I can actually see that. And so I can not only browse this presentation in web app, I can actually now go, if I want, I can edit this in a browser if I want. If I want to download a copy and view it, I can do that. I can choose to edit it in a full-fledged PowerPoint client as well. So for example, if I go this and I go to I choose edit in browser, it opens up and all of this is in browser mode because I don't think this computer has Office. Does it have Office on this computer? Which version?
Not sure.
Oh, okay. So good. So this is in, again, so this is in browser mode, right? It is basically showing me the entire presentation as it was updated. And now I can actually edit it. I can edit this whole thing. Now, and if I want to insert smart art and basically make it this, if I want to, I can change it. Or if I don't want to do it, I can bet Control Z, and it undid all of that. So I can change it however I want. In fact, I can put a new slide here, and it gives me the template of the new slide. I can put title and content. I can add a slide. I can continue working on it like I would in a normal presentation, all on the browser. So think of it. You can upload a document, go home on your work computer, on your home computer. If you don't have Office, it does not matter anymore. You can quickly work on presentations and then come back to Office and finish it. It basically gives you continuity of work. And as you go from a web app to a desktop client to back, you don't lose any formatting. So for example, I have this option to open it in PowerPoint. So let me see. So I can open it in PowerPoint mode So I wonder what happened there. So let me go back. I can download a copy if I want, and it all retains itself. So I'm opening the same document that I had, and it works perfectly. So even this slide that I had, it's all there. So you enable editing, and you start working on it like you would. And you automatically, if you open it from the server, if you open it straight from the server without saving it on your local machine, in PowerPoint, you can actually save it right to the cloud. So you can automatically synchronize your document with the cloud. So that's extremely cool. One of the things is we also have surveys. So if you want to send out an Excel survey, you can do that. My favorite is the Excel spreadsheet where it actually shows you, the preview shows you charts very quickly. I'm showing you all the Excel web apps because the preview shows you charts. All of that remains just in preview. An interesting thing to note is how you can actually share your documents. You can share this document that you have. You can not only share it with people internal to your organization, but you can share it with people external to your organization. If you just uncheck the require sign-in box, you can basically share it with people external to the organization. You can give them editing rights, and you can share it. So I can just put you can just put any address. You can put a Hotmail address or Gmail address or whatever it is. It will send them a link to the document, and they can just click on it and start working on it. And yes, you do have simultaneous editing on this. So 3, 4 people, how many other people you want can work together simultaneously on a document, and the changes are simultaneous as well. So as soon as you see changes, you can see the changes being reflected as well. So both of you can work on a document together. I also want to show now you can actually sync SkyDrive Pro to your desktop computer. And this is another feature that we're introducing is instead of now having your documents in the cloud, you can actually have a folder in your computer that synchronizes with the cloud. So you don't even have to go and bring documents into the cloud. You just put it in that folder in your desktop, and it automatically gets uploaded into the cloud. And so there are a lot of cool features here, and one of the things is you can now use this to edit stuff on your iPad. So let's see if we can do that. So can people see this? Is it better? Okay. So as you can see, I'm looking at the same SkyDrive Pro here. So I'm going to enlarge it. So I'll quickly show you how you can create a document here. So I can create a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to say, I'm basically creating an Office document on an iPad. So it opens up our PowerPoint web app. I can choose what template that I want. So I'm going to choose this template. You can change that template. If once you open it in PowerPoint and you find another template, that's fine. You can change it, and then it continues to work as before. It doesn't mean that you have to use the template that's already here. So you can apply it, and then I can start working on it. Okay. So, and this is me working as I would normally. Click to, and then I can change where it is at, subtitle. As you can see, you can make out that I'm a newbie at typing in the iPad. How do I make this go away? This one? Oh, thank you. Someone saved my life. Thank you. You can, so I'm adding the presentation, then I'll add a new slide, and here. And not just this, you can actually do Excel documents on this. You can do Word documents on this. You can, and this is me using Office 365, right? And check this out. Okay, agenda, and I'll put this. Introduction. Right, and now if I want to add a transition, select all. And now if I want to do a transition animation for this, I can also do that. So I can add transitions, I can add pictures, and I'm actually editing an Office document. So this was just that. Let's go to another document. If you want to, so there was me creating an Office document on iPad. I can actually go and edit this document. For example, budget presentation. So I'm going to edit in browser. So I can actually edit documents on the iPad. And this is all free with Office 365. There's no charge to this. If you sign up for Office 365, you get access to it. And now I can edit this document like I did before. So this is really cool because it really goes back to what we talked about. We don't care what device you access to Office 365. We just want you to be productive. We just want to help you, be productive wherever you want to be with whatever devices you want to be. I can actually edit documents on my phone, and sometimes I use it when I'm in the subway. If I want to start my to-do list, I sync it with the cloud. By the time I come home, my to-do list is all synced up. So you can definitely do that, and this is extremely powerful in terms of Office web apps. So is everyone clear what an Office web app is? And the reason I say is not many people know that we have web apps. In fact, if you sign up with a Hotmail account, everyone gets Office web apps there as well. So web apps are available with a Hotmail account there, but it comes with Office 365, and they're putting a lot of investment in this technology. So I use it all the time. I go back and forth from a web app to the client and then back to the web app, so it's very clear. So I have time till 3:45, correct? 3:30? Okay, great. And so this was part of it. Let me come back and see if there's anything else that I need to show you. So are we back? Are we back to this? Hey guys, am I sharing this document again? Sorry about that. How do I go back to the screen? PC. Great, thank you. Another thing we want to show you is sites. We talked about sites. And please note, all of this is in Chrome. I'm not using my computer. I'm not using Internet Explorer. So another thing we have is sites. Like I said, we make it very easy for you to create sites and to store a document. So for example, if for example, you want to use a site to collaborate with each other, you can very easily do that. This is our site template. Now, if your university wants to set up a separate template for the way you want to use it, you can do that. This is the site template. If you quickly look, we have, as a part of the site, you get a notebook. You get the ability to store documents, and you can share tasks, and also calendar, but you can customize it however you want. If you want to add a blog to your site, you can do that. If you want to add a video to your site, you can do that. You can do a lot of customization, but this is just what I did. One of the things is task list. As you can see on the top, there's a big task list there. For example, Katie and Garth were working on a budget presentation, as you can see the task. Now with the task list here, you can actually set up a task list for people. You can actually assign them a new task if you want. And so you can actually assign a task name, give presentation. Right? And you can do the start date, end date, and you can enter names, and it resolves at the back end. You save it, and it gets added to the timeline here. And if someone has finished their task, you can just check it, and it just gets, the task is finished. So people who you're collaborating with know what is happening in a project, right? So that's very easy to actually see as well. If I come back to home, one of the things that you'll see is there's actually a news feed, so you can actually collaborate. You can actually, have chat sessions going on within the news feed and say, "Hey, how are things going? Did you get my presentation or not?" And so you can actually talk within something that is available to everyone. You can actually talk to them. This is documents. You can actually share documents. Again, it has the same web apps technology. You can create documents or not. So as you're talking to someone, you can create a quick notebook and say, hey, we need to document all the notes here. You can do that as well. So you can create Office documents as well on this particular site, or you can add documents. So let me see if there's anything I can add to from here. Oh, there's Lab View. I don't see any particular, any kind of document or a PDF that I can use, unfortunately. But you can still drag and drop stuff. So you just have to drag and drop stuff. It's available there. One of my favorite features is the notebook. You have a notebook as a part of the site. So if you're taking meetings, so you can say the Jan 9th meeting, you can take notes of the Jan 9th meeting. You can say Jan 16th. Who uses OneNote here? Oh, please, if there's anything else you take away from this presentation, please use OneNote. It will save your life. It is the best note-taking software ever. I discovered it too late in my life. I discovered it after I graduated from school, which is the biggest mistake ever. You should know about it when you're in school. It is a note-taking ninja that you get free as a part of Office Suite. So if you have Office, please take OneNote, because the reason I'm saying that is because OneNote organizes all your notes, makes it searchable. We can go into like a 2-hour session on OneNote if I want, and I love that software. But OneNote comes part of Office 365. So you can create notes here, and it's very easy to work with. Let me create a Word document, because I also wanted to show you another feature. Right, so you just say, blah. I'm a bad typer. I'm very slow. So I'm just going to show you a feature of a Word document. Hey, I just saved it. So I'll save it again, go back to budget planning. And, oh, I was too fast for this. So I have this, and now when I open it, we see that if I view it in browser, one of the things that you get is the ability to put comments on a document that you're just viewing. Now, when you're editing, you can put comments on it. And it is so cool that you can actually block this, add a new comment saying, posted. And it now becomes a part of the commenting system of this particular document. Now, if anyone comes and sees this document, they will see, oh, hey, I have to change this, so I'm going to change this, and so on and so forth. And then when you change it, you can actually reply to this person and say, hey, I changed it. If I were logged in as somebody else. So you can actually review your document very, very succinctly with basically, this is what you're talking about, working together, right? You need to work together. You need to see if people are making changes. How do you respond to it dynamically? So not only can you simultaneously co-author, you can work together simultaneously on a document, but if you want to review a document, and if you want to start commenting on the sidelines, it actually becomes a chat session on the sideline where you can comment on it. So I just wanted to show you this because it was pretty cool. And so we're going to shift to Bob, to show you Link, because that is a separate aspect of collaboration. The important thing to note is in Office 365, there's not one way of collaborating. There is a way of collaboration in Office 365 using sites, using documents. You can share documents with each other. You can simultaneously co-author. But we have another product called Link, which does the IM and video conferencing. So what Link is, I'm going to show you what Link is before I bring Bob in. And for this, I need to laptop. Is it working? This is correct?
What you see is being presented, yes.
How do I make the pane disappear? Oh, I need to stop sharing here, correct?
Yeah, you need to stop sharing there.
Sorry.
And share here.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Link before we get Bob in. So before we get Bob in, let me change my So I'm actually opening my work email now because I need to get Bob into the system. So let me just do that. Bear with me a little bit, please. So So what I'm doing is I'm joining into a web conference session to get my colleague Bob in. And before that, I'll give you an overview of what Link is. Link is our Link is the IM part of Office 365. It's how we, it's what we use internally as well to communicate with each other. So let me close all my windows. Sorry about this. Wow, that's a lot of windows. Basically. Yeah. So this is what is known as a link client. As you can see, I have basically, I can see all my teammates here. I can see their statuses, who's available, who's not, who's in a conference call. And because I was presenting a presentation, it's actually noticed that my video out is to a projector. It's automatically changed my status as presenting. So this is something that Link automatically did it because it's seeing that I'm presenting. And so I can change this back to available or busy. If you basically have a Link meeting on your Outlook and you decide to go on a Link presentation, it automatically changes your status to in a meeting. So Link is a way we use to do IM. You can do IM, you can do video conferencing, you can schedule Link meetings. And so I will get Bob in to talk about that. So I'm inviting Bob here. And this is as simple as that. I got Bob into a meeting. Hi, Bob, can you hear me?
Hey, Shanta.
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Great. Say hi to the folks here at Ferris State.
Hey, everybody.
So we have Bob. So Bob lives in Tampa, Florida. He lives in a very sunny part of the world, so don't give him a rough time for that. But Bob's our Link expert, and he's gonna give you a demo from Tampa. Bob, just don't put your video on because there's a lot of bandwidth issue, but otherwise things should come through. So Bob is taking over.
You guys should see my video now.
Bob is taking over, so he's going to start presenting from his desktop to my computer.
Give me 1 second here. Let me just minimize a few things and then.
So you can see Bob here. And that's Bob, and he's going to share his desktop with you.
Let me know when you can see it because I am up on a VPN, so sometimes it takes a minute or so.
Okay, no problem. You can turn off your video feed if you want, if that's going to help you with bandwidth. Oh, yeah, he turned off his video feed. Are you sharing again?
Yeah, it should be coming up here in a second here.
Sure, no problem. Thanks, Bob. And so Bob is sharing his desktop, so I will let Bob give this part of the presentation.
Okay, so can you see my desktop okay, Ashanka?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so the Microsoft Link client, let me just come back here for a moment. You know, it looks and feels much like any other instant messaging presence client that's out there on the market today. I can see individuals' presence. I can see real-time presence based upon what they're doing at that particular time. So if a person happens to be in a conference, I will actually see that, like Mark Garcia here. It shows that he's in a conference call. That denotes that he's in a multi-party conversation, collaborative session. I can see that Jeff Saldivar's currently got himself in a busy state. I can see that individuals who may have a current meeting scheduled, inactivity for individuals, how long they've been inactive, etc. I can also see their out of office message. So like Cynthia Hanna down here, I can see that she's currently out of the office. So in customer meetings. So I'm really able to see and be able to communicate with people very effectively and knowing how to communicate with them and when they want to be, you know, and how they want to be communicated with. So there are three types of presence states within the Microsoft Link client. There's real-time, based upon real-time activities. I'm in a conference call. As you see, my presence right now is in Do Not Disturb, and I'm presenting. This is nothing that I've done manually. It's just simply that I am sharing out my desktop with you at this point in time. So it will stop any other interactions coming in from people outside of my immediate work group. So the second one is calendar-based, and that is based upon of course, your Outlook calendar. So if you have a meeting scheduled from 3 to 4, during that 3 to 4 period, it will show you that you're in a meeting. And then there's manual. So maybe you just came out of that meeting a little early and you want to put yourself back to available. That will be a manual presence state that you would go ahead and put yourself back to. However, if your meeting ends at 3 o'clock, immediately at 3 o'clock, you'll be going back into the next available state. So this is all automated for the end user. I can look up individuals. So if I want to find somebody that's in my global access list, I can look them up. So if I want to look up, say, Steve Ballmer, simply type in Steve. I can see that he's currently in well, there's two Steve Ballmers. So our CEO has been offline now for 50 minutes. And the other Steve Ballmer is currently in a conference call. So it really gives me the ability to, effectively look for individuals within my organization. External to my organization, we do have federation. We have federation with Skype. We have federation with Live. We have federation with AOL, MSN, as well as via the XMPP gateways. We have federation with Google Talk, as well as WebEx. So this will provide for instant messaging and presence, and in some cases where it's like Skype and Live, full voice over IP and video capabilities as well between the clients. So with that, I can also see other individuals that may not be within my organization, that may be running on other Link servers and Office communication servers. So if I come down here to my Link partner area, as you see, I have the ability to see Bill Gay over at Aspect, Alan Abrahamson over at Polycom, and I can
you go a little slower? Can you go a little slower? It's rendering very slowly because of bandwidth issues.
Okay, no problem. So let me know. So as you can see, these partners here, it tells me the name of the company afterwards. So Aspect, Polycom, Hewlett-Packard, Southwestern, you name it. So you can actually see and be able to communicate with them as effectively as if they were a member of your own organization. I can also take and change by simply coming down here, right-click, and changing my privacy relationship with individuals. So I'll let that fill in for a moment.
Bob, hold on. I just lost connection briefly.
Okay. Let me know when you get it back.
Just to clarify, this is not because of Link. It's because there are like 3 simultaneous sessions going on from this computer. So there's bandwidth issues clearly. Yeah, we can see your desktop.
Okay. So can you see the pop-up box right now with my different privacy levels?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I have 5 different privacy levels. I have work group, which are my closest work associates. They will be able to, if I wanted to, allow somebody to interrupt me during a Do Not Disturb session or something of that nature, I would put them into my work group. I have colleagues, I have external contacts. I can also block contacts from this simple pane. I can also see an individual's contact card. So if I want to pop up a contact card, I can see information that I have available on that individual. So this is Duncan Blake. He works for Hewlett-Packard. His email is over at HP. If I wanted to place a call over to him, I could simply, place a call via voice over IP and via the federation to him.
So let me just stop you there. What he's trying to say is you can actually do a PC to PC call using Link. So you don't have to use phone anymore. If you see someone in your organization that you want to quickly talk to, you can just do it using the link client. You can just call them and you can do a PC to PC call. And that's one way to escalate a conversation in email. Whereas if you see someone, instead of sending an email, hey, what have you done with it? If you want to talk to them more, you can go ahead and escalate the conversation and actually start a PC to PC call. And it's all going through the Office 365 service. So it's not going to cost anybody anything. It's a voice over IP, basically.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that, Ashanka. So also, you know, I can simply, if I want to IM somebody, I simply double click on their name, or I could hover over them, right click, and start up an IM session. So it gives you several different ways of doing it. If I want to bring additional people into an IM session, or a voice over IP session, or a video session, what have you, I'd simply start dragging them in. So if I want Steve Bruno in here, I'd drag Steve Bruno over. If I wanted VJ, I'd drag VJ in. I can have up to 250 people into a call at any given time.
Yeah.
And that would be with full voice over IP, video, and collaboration. So PowerPoint presentation, desktop sharing, things of that nature.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that Bob said you can have 250 people on a single call session. So if you want to, you know, have a conference call, the maximum allowed right now is 250 people, where you can share a presentation, you can share a call, you can do whiteboarding session with them. You have a lot of options to do that. And one thing to also note is external attendees, they don't have to have the link client installed on the computer. So if a professor is talking to a student, they just have to send the URL of the link meeting, and external attendees just click on that, and a web browser opens up where they can hear audio, they can hear video, they can see the presentation, they can be part of the presentation, they do everything, and so they don't have to have a link client installed for external users. Sorry, Bob,
Perfect.
Go ahead.
That's quite all right, Ashanka. Thank you. So I have the ability to present multiple modes on my PC. So I can share out my desktop. If I was running multiple monitors right now, it would actually show me share out my monitor number 1 or my monitor number 2, or both monitors simultaneously. I can share out an individual program on my PC. So if I happen to be utilizing an Excel spreadsheet and I only want the individual on the other end to see that Excel spreadsheet, I could share that singularly out. I can share out a PowerPoint presentation. I can start up a whiteboard session. So if I want to start up a whiteboard, I simply click on whiteboard. And sorry, that was my bad, because I started up the whiteboard session with the other meeting, not with this meeting. So let me go over here and I'll start up a whiteboard session with you guys.
Okay. So this is basically our meeting, which I originally had, which Bob was a part of. So the way I arranged this is I basically sent Bob with an email with a link meeting information, and he just clicked on it, and now both of us are in one session, and Bob is now sharing his whiteboard, so now we can actually basically write like you do with a Sharpie, you know?
So yeah, I can pull up here and we can both be communicating at the same time.
Or you can even type if you want. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I can even insert pictures here. There's a lot of different things that we can do with the whiteboard session. So it really gives you the ability to communicate and collaborate effectively, between multiple parties. I could also start up a polling session. So if I want to start up a poll, I'd simply click on poll. I would name the poll and the question, how is the weather today? And create a poll. So with that, it will automatically publish that poll out to you guys. And if there's multiple people on the call, then we could all, put in our answers. And, it would judge those answers accordingly. So of course, throughout the life of a meeting, I can click the record button on this and start recording this meeting, which will wrap it up into a MP4 format that could be later distributed out to students, out to faculty and staff who may not have been in attendance for this particular meeting.
Right, so just to reiterate, you can record any session. So you automatically press the record button, and if it's a meeting, and even if someone is chatting on the chat session when someone is speaking on the recording, the chat sessions also show up. So it's a very comprehensive recording that you can do for every meeting that you have.
And I'm resharing out my desktop right now, Ashanka, so you should see that momentarily.
Okay. Isn't it incredible that I can basically see the desktop of Bob, who's in Tampa, Florida? I mean, think of it. He could be in China and I could still see his desktop. In fact, I can, if he gives me access, I can control his desktop. And you have the option to do that. You give app permission to people to access your desktop, like in Help Desk. In Microsoft, we do that, where Help Desk accesses our desktop through link. And they could be anywhere, and we still get our work done. Isn't this incredible? And it's all free.
So yeah, can you now see my Outlook client, Ashanka?
Yeah, we can see it. Perfect.
Okay, excellent. So if I want to schedule a link meeting, maybe it's a class, maybe it's a meeting that I want to do as a collaborative session, I'd simply grab a time. So I'm going to grab a time slot here. And, it opens up a meeting invite just like any other meeting invite. I simply click the link meeting button. It's going to reach out to the servers and grab the URLs and any phone numbers that might be assigned with that meeting and things of that nature, and automatically fill that information in for me. So the URL, which is right here, is join.microsoft.com, meet Bob Will. That's my meeting space. What happens at that point is if somebody clicks on this URL, the first thing we're going to do is reach out and sense if they have a link client or not to be able to join that meeting. If they have a link client on their PC or on their device, okay, it could be an iPad, could be an Android phone, could be a Windows phone, what have you, it will automatically reach out and see if they have that. If they do, it will launch that meeting within that client or that app. If they do not, it will reach out and pull down the components necessary for an HTML5 browser-based meeting experience. And the browser-based meeting experience is about 99% on par with the thick client in order for an attendance. So this will take the ability for a Mac user or a Linux user to be able to join that meeting space as long as that browser is HTML5 compliant. Okay? So I can send this out to distribution lists. I can send this to people within my organization, external to my organization. It really doesn't matter. They will be able to see and join this meeting. If I wanted to possibly change some options and make this more of a secure meeting, I'd simply come down here and I can actually set who gets into a meeting first, who waits in the lobby prior to coming into the meeting, who will need passcodes, things of that nature. I can set this in the meeting options tab.
Yeah, and also Bob, can you mention how the experience is on an iPad? Link is accessible on an iPad also, correct?
Absolutely, it's accessible on an iPad. So with Link 2013, the iPad client will be hitting the iTunes store during the month of February. So you'll be able to do full voice over IP, video over IP. It'll also support video and voice over 3G, 4G, LTE. And we'll be able to give you the ability to communicate, instant messaging, presence, the ability to absorb information. You will not be able to present a PowerPoint presentation or share up your desktop, but you'll be able to absorb the distant end who will be sharing out theirs or presenting a PowerPoint, what have you.
So they can see your presentation being presented on an iPad, correct?
Absolutely.
So if anyone is presenting and you're on an iPad, if you're traveling, you can log into Link and you can see what they're presenting and just listen to it on your headphones. So it's very convenient. We do that when we are traveling sometimes. I have my Surface and I listen to it from my Surface. So Link has apps on all the major, it's on Android, it's on app on the iTunes Store, it's of course on the Windows Store. Bob, just 2 more minutes. If you can wrap it up, I think we can go into Q&A.
Absolutely. So, you know, it is very easy to use. You know, the Link client is very powerful. The pictures in here are based off of Active Directory. It really helps you understand who you're communicating with. One of the things at Microsoft, there are 6 Bob Williamses at Microsoft, so sometimes it's very hard to determine which one they're talking to. So that, you know, pictures come in very handy. I can also come over here and see all of my past communications with individuals, my miscommunications and things of that nature. So I can go back and pick up on a instant message or a conference call that we had in the past. So, you know, I'd simply come down here and restart that session with that team. So it makes it very easy. It's kind of like speed dial on steroids is what I kind of call it.
And also all conversations you have on IM on Link can be archived in your Outlook and they become part of your conversation folder within Outlook. So if you're searching in Outlook for a particular person or a particular conversation, even these Link conversations show up in the search. So it's a one unified search for all IM, for all email and everything. So when you're searching in Outlook, you can have a Link conversation show that. Of course,
Yeah, so that is shown right actually here on my desktop now. This is actually my conversation history. So you can see, you know, all the communications that I've had with different individuals, you know, throughout the day, week, months, you know, and literally for me about 2 years. Another piece is, you know, down in the Outlook client, I can come in here and see the presence of individuals directly in my Outlook client. So this is my entire buddy list and contact list in Outlook. So if they have a presence enabled back end, you know, if they're on Link, if they're on Office Communication Server, if they're on one of our federated networks, I can see and communicate with them directly from this client as well. And one other thing I just want to show real quick is the ubiquitousness of this. So, you know, right here in my Outlook, you know, we have a conversation or an email that I got from Cindy Dawson. I can see her presence right here. If I wanted to communicate with Cindy, I'd simply hover over her name. I could start up an instant message. I could do a voice over IP peer-to-peer call with her.
Bob, just slow down a little bit.
Yep. I can see, you know, start up a video call with her. So there's a lot of different ways that I can start communicating with her.
So
if I happen to click, can you see what I'm showing you right now?
Yeah. So if you can see that right now, he can, within an email client, start a call to somebody within email. You don't have to have, you don't have to be logged into the client. You can actually, from within your email, talk to someone. That's what he wanted to show.
So as one thing that I just want to point out here is, you know, so when I clicked on the reply with IM or start up an IM with her, since Cindy was, you know, I clicked on this out of an email, it's actually taking the title of the email and bringing it over to the instant message so that she knows exactly what I'm communicating with her about.
So
and I think that took my 2 minutes.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I think we need to wrap up for Q&A. But just wrapping up, Link is a very, very powerful tool. We use that every day to talk. My boss lives in Seattle. Sorry, now he's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. And so this is what I use to communicate with my boss. We actually use this product on a daily basis to do our work. It's very powerful. It can do huge things in education. A lot of our universities are looking at it. And the fact that it's free is a huge value in Office 365. Thanks. Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to open it up to Q&A.
Are the Active Directory shared folders basically separate from the Office 365, or is there some way where one's doing text searching, one can share within the local shares as opposed to having to copy everything over to SharePoint 365?
I didn't hear the question clearly. I heard a lot about Active Directory shared folders. We'll have to get back on Active Directory shared folders because there was something about shared folders being in Office 365 and the product group coming back on that a little bit. So we'll get back to you on the Active Directory shared folders. But if you can clarify the question a little bit more, that'd be great because I didn't hear the whole of it.
Okay, basically the question is, in the Office 365 environment, one has the ability to do searches on documents, collaborate in documents, etc. For organizations like Ferris,
you can, so you're talking
that
about
already have a...
Sorry, go ahead.
For organizations like, okay, for organizations like Ferris that already have a Active Directory shared folder infrastructure, is there a way through Office 365 to do searches within that infrastructure, or are you strictly limited to what's on SharePoint 365?
The infrastructure right now is what's shared on Office. So there are two parts to it. Whatever you search on Office 365 environment, you can search across that, the entire Office 365 environment. If you have a SharePoint on-prem infrastructure, you have a unified search that searches across both on-prem and Office 365 environment as well. So that is the searching as far as document is concerned. As far as the back end is concerned, you can do e-discovery on the entire Office 365 environment. You can do e-discovery on mail, calendars, documents, IM, all of that, but within the Office 365 environment. So we'll get back and clarify that if you need more clarification.
Hey,
Great,
Jerry.
thank you very much.
Jerry, if you send me an email on that, I'll make sure we get an answer on the Active Directory shared folders connection.
Okay, thank you.
We have one more question.
Great.
Actually, I have several questions, if that's all right, but you can cut me off if you need to. Question on the video conferencing. Do all parties involved need to be on Office 365?
No. So if you want to do video conferencing, all the parties, you can have external attendees who are not part of Office 365 join the video conferencing as well. So they don't have to be in Office 365.
Okay, thank you. And when you were talking about the task list in sites, is there a way within that system to post messages and have conversations related to a task?
The only way to post conversation and message related to task is the news feed that I showed. Let me show that again if you can see it. This is so if you can see here, the news feed here, that is meant for you to converse regarding things. So if you want to talk to someone about a task and say, hey, you need to finish this task, you can push the news feed here. What this will do is this will automatically show up in every individual's news feed. So even though you wrote this on this site, it'll show up as a thing on everyone's news feed. They also might get an email notification if they have set up to receive an email notification.
Okay, so that's only for the people who are involved in that particular site, is that correct?
Yeah, so in this particular site, the task list is for people who are part of that particular site. So you're assuming that if you're setting a task list on a site, the people who have invited are also part of the site and they follow this site. So once they follow this site, if you have any comments to add regarding tasks, you can use the news feed to set up to make comments, and then if they're unable to receive email notification, they will receive an email notification once you post something.
Okay, and how do you control who has access to which site?
You can decide to share your
people.
Yeah, you can decide to share your site with people if you want to. So you can, like you see, share site here. So you can share site with people, and again, this is a combination of the admin, the IT admin setting up rights, because they don't want you to share all information willy-nilly. So they can set up some boundaries as well, but if you go to share, you can share it with everybody, just by putting email addresses. You can invite people to edit on the site, and they'll have full rights on adding documents and things like that.
Okay, great, thank you. And last question, can you repeat or clarify what you were talking about with the 7 gigabytes of storage?
Great, I'll be happy to do that. So 7 gigabytes of storage relates to your personal documents on SkyDrive Pro. So SkyDrive Pro is all the documents that you upload as a part of your document storage aspect. So every individual user gets 7 gigs of free storage. If you go to sites, and create a site there, that storage for that site goes from the institutional storage side of it. So your 7 gigs are not used when you use a site to share information and all. So your 7 gigs only comes into play when you store documents on SkyDrive Pro, and in your SkyDrive Pro folder, and you put documents and you can share them and things like that. So that's your 7 gigs. Does that help you?
Yes, that's great, thank you.
Just quickly to clarify, when you were talking about the chatting using other services, what are some examples of other services that you can use?
Bob, do you want to talk about federation with other chat services?
Yeah, Shanka, can you repeat that? Because it sounds kind of like I'm getting kind of a stadium effect in the room.
Sorry, the question was, what are the other chat services that federate with Link?
Okay, so currently Skype, Live. So anybody who's on a Live account, Hotmail, things of that nature, excuse me, utilizing the Live Messenger. In AOL, via the XMPP gateway, we can talk to Gtalk, WebEx, Jabber, and other Microsoft Link and Office Communication Server clients.
So just to rephrase that, so you have Skype, Windows Live Messenger, and through the XML gateway, you have Gtalk, Jabber, AOL, correct?
Correct.
Great. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that's it. Thank you. That's all we have.
All right, then we'll go to the Big Rapids audience. We'll start over on this side again. Questions up front, Chris?
Yes, I am a user of one of the older versions of SharePoint, and with that we have survey capabilities. Is there a survey capability kind of thing here?
Yeah,
can you show it to us?
You can actually select an Excel survey here, and you can create a survey test. And this basically feeds into a back-end Excel document, so you can create your survey here. So you can basically add questions, and then once you add questions, you get options, response type, default answer, things like that. And once you send this to people, it basically feeds into an Excel spreadsheet that you can then use to do analysis. So it's basically connected to an Excel at the back end, but you have the abilities to do surveys.
Next question, this side. Jennifer?
When you set up tasks, are you able to get a reminder things are due and such?
I'll have to go back and check, but I know that if you, I'll have to check because there's a possibility that it is synchronized with your Outlook, and then you get a reminder through Outlook for that. But I have to check if you get a reminder for the task on your SharePoint site.
So are there tasks within Outlook and then also tasks within Sites?
Yes. So within Outlook, it's basically the tasks that you set for yourself. So it's related to your email. So you can set a lot of tasks here. You can set up your, like you can see this is my personal email. I should not be showing this, but as you can see, there are a lot of tasks there. So you have tasks within email, but you have a task when you're collaborating with people on the sites. So I'll get back to you on if there's any way to reconcile those two tasks.
Okay, and then about the link window where it showed everyone's statuses, is there a way to include that on your Outlook desktop so you could see who is out of their office right at the moment?
Bob, the question is link statuses. Is there a way to see that in your Outlook desktop?
Oh, 100%. So that is ubiquitous across. So if if you have link on a PC or a link application on a PC, you will see that throughout Office. So Outlook, if you have smart tagging enabled in a Word doc, you'll actually see it in your Word or Excel or what have you, or SharePoint for that matter.
So for example, what he's talking about, this is Outlook, correct? As I just put Michael Icor there, and he's my coworker. As soon as I hover over his name, I get his status as away. So within Outlook, I'm able to get a status. So if he's put out of office message, that shows up as well. But what's curious is I have the entire contact details of Michael Icor now. So if you want to spam him, no, I'm just kidding. But so yeah, within Outlook, you get complete status details within Outlook. And not only that, in SharePoint as well, in Office 365 and SkyDrive Pro, if you're logged into SkyDrive Pro and someone has basically shared a document, you can actually see their link status within SkyDrive Pro. So when you're looking at someone's document, if that person is available, you can actually start IMing them from within SkyDrive Pro and say, hey, you're available, can we talk about this document? So statuses are present throughout Outlook, Office 365, any part of that, you can see their status.
Once you log into one of those, are you logged into all?
Yeah.
Okay, additional questions this side of the room? Gary?
Hello. The university has moved quite extensively to mobile communication devices. Does Microsoft 365 have the ability to remotely wipe a lost or stolen device?
Yes.
And could you tell me ease of setup on anything from a Windows-based device to an iOS device to an Android device?
Any mobile device that has access to Office 365 and is basically getting email from Office 365, you have access to remotely wipe it, and you will do that through the admin console, the Exchange control panel to admins, and you can see users, and then you have options to remotely wipe them if you want.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? All right, this side of the room. Any questions? All right. Do we have any online questions?
We have one. Is there a way in Link to prevent people from seeing your presence and attempting to chat with you?
Is there a way to prevent people from seeing your presence in an attempt to chat with you? Bob?
Yeah, so you can block them, yes.
Yeah, and you can prevent them from seeing your presence. One thing that I forgot to mention when I was showing sites is if you're a faculty and you want to store your, your course materials, because a lot of universities consider, professors, it's intellectual property of the universities because you don't want your course material to get out, but you also want students to visit your course material. In Office 365, you can do that. You can create your own site within the Office 365 environment. Like I've created a history site. You can create anything for anything. Put your course material, even share videos, start a discussion board, all of that. But if you want users who are not part of the Office 365 environment, like your students who are on, they're on a Gmail system, they're not part of Office 365, they can still access that site if the faculty member decides to open that site up for external access. So there is a way to do this, so students who are external to this can access it, but that is possible.
Okay, last chance for questions. All right, I again want to thank everyone for the dedication you've shown coming to all the events. Thank you everyone in Grand Rapids. I implore you to please complete the questionnaires. They're at the bottom of the sheet. If you don't have one of those sheets, you can go to My Tech Support and then click on the faculty staff section, and down at the bottom you will see the email replacement link. It's a complete site. You can see the schedule we've put together. You can see the charge of the group. You can see the activities that we're trying to accomplish. So please go out to the site, submit the questionnaire for all 3 products. It is really going to be the basis for what we use to take the next step in this process. And again, I can't thank you enough for your time and energy. Have a great day.
Oh, I actually had a last slide, but just 2 minutes before that, I just wanted to say these are the things that we think that makes us different from everybody else that you're evaluating. These are important aspects like offline access. You have to evaluate whether you get offline access significantly. Of course, there's Office web apps that you only get with Office 365 in order to edit documents on an iPad, and then video conferencing that you get with links. So this is a very powerful tool that we charge a lot of money for our enterprise customers, that we're giving it to free for education. And so we just hope you saw the value in that in what we presented today. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate that. And now you're free to go. And I'm sorry if I stood between you and the last session, but thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate that. Thank you.